War is coming to Venezuela, and it's about to hit a lot faster than I think a lot of people are prepared for. And despite the official messaging, I don't think that this has to do anything with drugs. And for context, this is what the US asserts is a drug boat that was operating in the Gulf of Mexico before being blown up by an airstrike. First, let's talk about this article from the New York Times discussing how during negotiations between Trump and Maduro, Maduro basically offered everything. He offered the keys to the kingdom. And despite that, the Trump administration turned them down and closed off all diplomatic channels, apparently moving us in the direction of an armed conflict. Now, why he did that, we're going to talk about a little bit more here in a second. But here's some text discussing what the negotiations were shaping as and why they accuse Maduro as being a narco terror cartel leader. There's a large cartel in Venezuela that the U.S. asserts that the Venezuelan generals, up to and including Nicolas Maduro himself, is in charge of. With increasing threats of war and U.S. strikes on vessels operating off the coast of Venezuela, the Maduro administration reached out to Trump to try to negotiate some sort of a peaceful resolution to this crisis. And as you can see here down in the bottom paragraph, that included very large and sweeping admissions of American businesses into Venezuela, a backtracking on Chinese, Iranian, and Russian ties, which would be strategically huge for the United States. In effect, it would be switching sides. However, not on the table was any conversation about Maduro's political exit and removal from power. And I believe that that is really the heart of this conflict. The US clearly wants Maduro gone. Who would replace Nicolas Maduro, you ask? Well, how about none other than the Nobel Peace Prize winner for this year, Maria Corina Machado? In fact, Machado and her team are offering a $1.7 trillion deal over the next 15 years with US companies if she is put into power in Venezuela. And I say put into power, I mean, she would be elected democratically in this situation. She has widespread approval and support within Venezuela. She's just been kicked out and put in exile, more or less, by the Maduro regime. So the association of Maduro to the Venezuelan cartel is really just building a legal basis for the Trump administration to go after Maduro on national security grounds. Don't forget that last week he declared that the US is in a state of armed conflict against armed cartels. And further pushing us into this direction, here's Secretary of War Pete Hegseth describing how the War Department is putting together a joint task force in South AOR, that's South America for you guys, that is going to basically combat cartel. This is while there are 10,000 troops, and that number is rising steadily based around the Gulf of Mexico that are all positioned in a way to strike Venezuela. That's not a huge number, but that's enough to start a conflict, that's for sure. In fact, this situation is getting so tense that some Venezuelan officials are concerned that the US may strike within Venezuela within hours of this video even being posted today. So pretty clearly, war is coming.